What hurts more in a relationship? A loud, heated argument or complete, deafening silence? It's a question many of us have pondered in the quiet moments after a storm, or during one that never seems to break. We often think of conflict as the enemy of a healthy relationship, something to be avoided at all costs. But what if the absence of conflict, this profound quiet, is actually more damaging? Why does silence sometimes feel more painful than shouting? Why does being ignored, being treated as if you're invisible, leave deeper and more lasting scars than being criticized? We instinctively recoil from raised voices and harsh words, yet the void left by unspoken feelings can feel like a much heavier weight. It's a subtle pain, one that creeps in and settles in our chests, making us question our value, our connection, and even our own reality. The silence isn't just an absence of sound, it's an absence of connection, an absence of care. And that can be the most frightening feeling of all. To understand why, we need to look at what's happening beneath the surface, on an emotional and even a neurological level. Arguments, as unpleasant as they can be, signify engagement. They show that both people are still invested enough to fight for their perspective, to express their hurt, their anger, their needs. It means there's still energy in the system, a current flowing between two people, even if it's a turbulent one. There's still a belief, however faint, that things can be worked out, that the other person will listen, that a resolution is possible. Silence, on the other hand, often signals the opposite: emotional withdrawal. It's a shutdown. When a partner retreats into silence, it's not just a refusal to talk. It's a severing of the emotional tether that holds the relationship together. Psychologically, this is known as stonewalling, one of the most potent predictors of relationship breakdown. For our nervous system, which is wired for connection and social bonding, this kind of emotional abandonment is interpreted as a profound threat. It triggers deep-seated fears of rejection and isolation. Think back to our evolutionary history. Being cast out from the tribe meant almost certain death. Our brains haven't forgotten that. So, when the person who is supposed to be our safest harbor, our closest ally, suddenly becomes a blank wall, our internal alarm bells start screaming. We feel invisible, invalidated, and emotionally unsafe. It's not just that we're being ignored, it feels like we cease to exist in the eyes of the person who matters most. This chronic feeling of being unseen can erode self-worth and create a pervasive anxiety that lingers long after the silence is broken. The unspoken message is devastating. You are not worth my energy. You are not worth the effort of a conversation. And that cuts deeper than any angry word ever could. Let's imagine a couple. We'll call them Alex and Jamie. For years, their relationship was marked by passionate, sometimes loud disagreements. They argued about chores, about money, about where to go on vacation. It was exhausting. Then, one day, the arguments just stopped. On the surface, their home became peaceful. No more shouting, no more slammed doors. A friend visiting might even comment on how calm their household seems. But if you were to look closer, you'd see the truth. Alex and Jamie don't make eye contact anymore. They move around each other like ghosts in their own home. They have dinner in silence, each scrolling on their phone. They haven't stopped arguing because they've solved all their problems. They've stopped arguing because they've given up. They've stopped trying to connect, to understand, to be heard. The silence isn't peace. It's the sound of a relationship slowly starving from a lack of emotional nourishment. The space between them, once filled with fiery debate and laughter, is now a vast, cold expanse of unspoken resentments and unmet needs. This quiet battlefield is where relationships often go to die, not with a bang, but with a prolonged, heartbreaking whisper. From a marriage counseling perspective, this silent treatment is rarely a sign of strength or control. More often, it's a defense mechanism born out of fear. It is science, a way to protect oneself from the overwhelming emotions that come with conflict. The fear of being hurt, of saying the wrong thing, of the argument spiraling out of control. By withdrawing, a person creates a temporary, artificial sense of safety. The problem is, this wall doesn't just block out the conflict. It blocks out the connection, too. It prevents intimacy, repair, and growth. Healthy, thriving relationships aren't devoid of conflict. That's a myth. Healthy relationships are defined by how they navigate conflict. They don't avoid difficult emotions. They learn how to express them and hold them safely. So, what can we do when silence has become the default? The first step is learning to name your emotions instead of letting them fester in silence. Instead of shutting down, you could try saying, "I'm feeling overwhelmed and I need a moment," or "I'm hurt by what just happened and I'm not sure how to talk about it yet." This communicates your state without attacking your partner and keeps the line of communication open, even if it's just a trickle. Next, it's crucial to intentionally create safe spaces for difficult conversations. This means agreeing on a time to talk when you're both calm, putting away distractions, and committing to listening without interrupting. The goal isn't to win the argument, but to understand each other's experience. Learning to regulate our emotions together is also key. When things get heated, agree to take a 20-minute break to cool down, with a clear promise to come back and finish the conversation. This prevents emotional flooding, where our fight or flight response takes over, and productive conversation becomes impossible. And sometimes the silence has become so entrenched that it's too difficult to break on your own. In these cases, seeking professional guidance from a therapist or counselor isn't a sign of failure. It's a courageous act of hope. A neutral third party can help you both learn the tools to communicate effectively and rebuild the emotional safety that has been lost. So now, take a moment for yourself. Take a deep breath and gently ask yourself this question. What if the silence in your relationship isn't a sign of peace? What if it's not a comfortable quiet, but an unspoken cry for emotional connection? What if that quiet ache you feel is actually a longing to be seen, to be heard, and to be understood again? Recognizing this isn't about placing blame on yourself or your partner. It's about bringing awareness to a pattern that may be silently causing pain, a pattern that you might not have even had the words for until now. It's the first, most important step toward change. Because here is the hopeful truth. Silence can be broken. Emotional distance can be repaired. It requires courage, vulnerability, and a willingness from both people to try again, to turn back toward each other instead of away. Awareness is the first flicker of light in a dark room. It's the moment you realize the quiet is not okay, and it's the moment you decide that your connection is worth fighting for, not with anger, but with intention, with compassion, and with a brave new voice. The path back to each other starts not with a grand gesture, but with a single honest word. Mindsnap wants to be your safe space, your quiet companion on this journey. We know these conversations are hard, and we want to create a place where they feel a little less lonely. What's been left unsaid in your relationship? If you feel comfortable, share a thought in the comments. You might be surprised how many others feel the same way. Subscribe to Mindsnap for more honest conversations about emotional health, relationships, and healing. Thank you for spending this time with us.